Hello everyone, welcome to a bit of a first on my channel. I'm going to do a Gobot review. Now this is a bot I actually picked up at one of my boot fair hauls, my last one, and quite a few people had asked if I'd do a little review on this guy because it's something they hadn't seen either, and it's the one that I was actually sort of saying is almost to the quality of like G1 Transformer. It's a larger Gobot. And apparently from one of my viewers, Salford Nurse goes by, actually sort of came up with a name for this guy. He's called Spyeye, apparently. I'm not quite sure why he's a spy, because he's more of a low-level bomber, but anyway. The eye part will become apparent as you see the review. Now, I'm giving you a little sort of 360 of the vehicle mode. Focuses back in. It's based on I assume a GR1 Tornado fighter bomber. Very nice paint apps, considering this is, I think it was 84, 85 this guy came out. Very nicely done. It does include die cast metal on these parts here and some of the internal parts. All done in a sort of camouflage pattern. It's a shame they didn't carry it onto the wings, but you know, again, going back to this sort of age, it's not bad at all. Quite a nice translucent orange canopy on the cockpit, and unlike the G1 Seeker jets, is a solid plastic nose rather than the rubber nose what they seem to do for health and safety reasons. So it's actually a little bit of an improvement. Doesn't really seem to suffer with any kind of paint wear other than on the die cast, which just has got a little bit of paint chipping just on little edges and that, but for its age, you know, you can't really expect much better than that. Does have some nice touches like chrome exhausts on the back of the jet, and if you look underneath, although there is a bit of a hollow section, the only little bit of damage I've come across on him is a little bit of plastic's just snapped off there. Let that focus, which isn't the end of the world. Another really nice touch which harkens back to sort of the early G1 sort of toys, and with their quality. Like G1 Jetfire, this guy has cast metal wheels, so actually runs quite nicely. Not great on a surface like this, but they're never going to snap off, let's put it this way. They're completely made up out of metal. So really nicely done all mode. No real obvious robot kibble anywhere, so that's really sort of well done for them to consider the age. I shall transform it for you. Oh, one other thing I should say as well, it does actually have the swing ring mechanism as well, which does make it look more streamlined. But the transformation is very nice. It's actually quite complicated for its age and the size of the bot. First things first, you slide the rear tail forwards and then pull back on these engine sections, and that is still quite stiff considering its age, and they clip back nicely. Now the part you've exposed again is die cast metal in black. That becomes the legs. I'll do them first. So first of all, you want to fold the rear tails to the sides. The legs can now become unpegged, and they've got small plastic pegs inside just to help keep them straight, but obviously when you push it in, it all helps it hold snugly together. The rear jet exhausts, you just flick them down and they lock into place, so you get chrome feet, and that's pretty much his legs done. The only other bit you've got to do is just flick his undercarriage up and out of the way. Now unfortunately they didn't include a hideaway feature for the front undercarriage, so unfortunately that stays out, but in its transformation you don't see that anyway. Now getting to the rest of the bot, you take these side engine inlet parts and pull them out to the sides like so, and you can pretty much see where that's going. They're going to become its arms. Now again, this whole centre section and these what will be shoulder sections are again black die cast metal, so again great build quality, that's never going to break on you. You then have to do quite an ingenious little transformation. You underneath, you can see there's a double screwed joint there. You pull the legs out to the side, you have to move the arms out of the way a little bit, pull them out to the side and then bend them down, so you're widening the robot stance and making those top parts horizontal. That gives you enough room that you then need to separate this section under the nose of the jet, and as you bring that round you flip up these side sections like so, and they become the robot chest, and that just folds down. Now at this point it seems like there's nowhere for the front wheel to go because the jet tail fin's in the way. Now again, just moving bits out of the way a little bit. Underneath this tail you'll notice there's a screw with a round section there. What you do is you pull up on that so it's away from the body and revolve it round, and that locks back in position on the spring, and you can fold the wings back up like so, and that neatens up the whole back section and allows the wheel to travel further back underneath, and that locks it all in position nicely. Now with the arms, because they're a little bit high up, inside the arm, if you can see, there's a slotted section, and that just slides down on the shoulders, so that brings the shoulders in line with the top of the chest properly. And inside you've got chrome fists which you just need to flick out. They are a little bit tight and a little bit fiddly to get your nail into, because it isn't actually a peg to get hold of it that well. They're a bit worn over all those years, so you just have to be a little bit forceful with it and get your nail in behind. Now this is the only bit where I need a little bit of help, because of the fact that the head, that little bit of plastic's broken there. There is a little clip to actually lift the head up, but because that part of the runner's missing, it does help just to get something in underneath and just help tease it up. That's it. And it's basically, there was a little peg on the back of the head you're supposed to get your nail to. Probably better to do that before I revolve the back, but as I was using the tool you can still get to it. And that exposes his head, which again is where you get the name Spyeye, because he's just got one eye. I'll just lift the camera up a little bit now. And there you go, that's basically him transformed. Now, limited range of movement, let's be honest, this is the equivalent of G1. The shoulders, because of the air vents on the jet, are a little bit tight for getting past the wings where they're folded up. You could of course move the wings, but you sort of get there. He's going to be more one of these sort of G1 style sort of bricks, but obviously not G1 because he's a Gobot. But yeah, that's pretty much him transformed. He could, if you really want to be gripey about it, he could have had a few more paint apps here and there. On his chest would have been quite nice, or a bit of chrome on these parts. But all in all, a really good early bot. I'll try and get that all in shot for you. No articulation on the legs because of the pull-out joint, unfortunately. And as I say, it's just straight arms. They could have incorporated a joint halfway, but again, because of the sliding joint mechanism inside, probably a little bit difficult to engineer that at the time. The touches of chrome on the feet, hands and the head are nice. Head, unfortunately, of course, a pop-up head doesn't have articulation either, but it's not hugely kibbly considering it's the same age as G1. And build quality, I'd have to say, is more than on the par with any of the G1 stuff. So if you're into your bots and you want just a random offshoot and something what quite sort of like, you know, it really does remind me, the chest is definitely like a Seeker, the head is definitely like G1 Whirl, which of course was from another toy line anyway. Yeah, I would definitely say pick it up if you see one of these guys. It's definitely worth having. Obviously quality sort of like helps with the condition. He's obviously lasted well over all this amount of time, but I would say obviously if it's a beaten up one you don't want to pay much for it. But you could always, you know, if you get a beaten up one, you could always do a bit of a recolour, repaint it, make it one of those sort of random Decepticons what's in the background. But anyway, there you go, that's my first Gobot review. As I say, his name's Spyeye, it's a new one on me. I hope you've enjoyed it. I shall see you again. Please feel free to subscribe if this is the first film you've seen, and I shall see you again. Thanks for watching.